Art, really, truly, beyond language, is an expression of our soul.
Yeah.
And the way we choose to express our soul in the world, specifically now that we're all artists, sharing
Yes.
creations all the time,
Mhm.
without limit, and sometimes to massive reach. We have a responsibility to be sharing light. And really, that responsibility is just to be aware of the condition of our soul, the
Yeah.
quality of our soul that we're sharing.
See the spark in the mud. Every hard road made a better blood. Still learning how to human.
What is art, and why is it important? Or an even better question, why are we even discussing it in a podcast about early human innovations? Because art helped shape humanity. In fact, you could argue that art is one of the clearest expressions of what makes us human. Art is imagination made visible. The evolution of art is every bit as fascinating and ever-changing as the humans who imagined it. Before history was written, humans were already telling stories. Before civilizations were built, humans were already creating beauty. And long before we recorded who we were already expressing who we hope to become. The earliest known artistic markings may date back nearly 100,000 years, when early humans in Africa used ground red ochre to leave abstract designs on stone. Unfortunately, because this was long before written history, we can only make an educated guess about what these early works meant. But one thing is certain, someone took the time to create something that wasn't strictly necessary for survival. That alone tells us something remarkable about the human mind. Stone Age artists worked with whatever was around them. Cave walls, animal bones, mammoth ivory, clay, rocks, and even their tools became canvases, decorated with carvings and patterns. We briefly talked about that in the previous episode. Around 40,000 years ago, human creativity seems to have exploded, or at least that is what the evidence we currently have suggests. People carved tiny figurines from bone and ivory, including the famous Venus figurines, with their exaggerated human features that many archaeologists believe symbolize fertility or life itself. Others carved astonishing, mythical creatures like the Lion Man of Germany, a sculpture that combines both human and lion characteristics. Whether it presented a spirit or story or something else entirely, we see something extraordinary here, that humans were imagining things that didn't exist. And then there are the cave paintings, walls filled with lions, horses, rhinos, bisons, and handprints painted in charcoal and red ochre. These are found across Europe, Africa, Australia, Asia, and the Americas. And these paintings remind us that creativity wasn't isolated. It was deeply human. But what did they mean? Some people believe they recorded successful hunts, or others think they told stories, or maybe they marked sacred places. But the truth is, we just don't really know. And maybe their mystery is part of their beauty. Stone Age artists also carved directly into rock, creating what we call petroglyphs. These carvings were simple circles, animals, geometric patterns, messages left behind by people we will never meet. Then, during the Neolithic period, humans began using stones to create enormous monuments like the Stonehenge. For the first time, art became architecture. Creativity became something humans could walk through. And researchers have described the Paleolithic art as representing a giant leap in human cognition. Not simply because it was beautiful, but because it demonstrated abstract thought. Humans were no longer responding only to the world around them. They were imagining worlds beyond them. And from there, human creativity accelerated. The Bronze Age introduced metalworking and monumental architecture. Ancient Egypt covered temples and tombs with paintings and hieroglyphs. The Greeks and Romans sculpted marble into astonishingly lifelike figures and built temples that still inspire architects today. The Middle Ages filled churches with mosaics, stained glass, illuminated manuscripts, and sacred imagery. Then came the Renaissance, where artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, they all transformed painting into a study of light, anatomy, science, and beauty. And from there, the artistic movements seem to arrive faster and faster. And the story only gets richer and richer. We move into the 1600s with Baroque paintings. Think Rembrandt, rich, dramatic, full of shadow and light. Around the same time, on the other side of the world, Mughal miniatures were flourishing between 1610 and 1620, intricate and jewel-like in their detail. By 1642, the Dutch Golden Age was in full swing, celebrating everyday life and the world as it actually was. Then came the 1700s, and a sharp turn towards the past. History paintings in the neoclassical style looked back to the grandeur of Greek and Roman legends. Very much a product of the Age of Enlightenment, where reason and order reigned supreme. But that didn't last long. By the late 1700s and into the 1850s, Romanticism pushed back hard, embracing nature, emotion, and the raw power of how the world made you feel. Then came one of the most beloved movements in art history, Impressionism, running roughly from 1860 to the 1890s, capturing light and movement in ways no other had dared before. Hot on its heels, Post-Impressionism carried that torch from 1886 all the way to 1905, pushing the boundaries even further. By 1907 and 1908, Cubism shattered the rules entirely, breaking subjects into fragments and multiple perspectives all at once, and laying the groundwork for what would become abstract art. By 1910, abstract art had fully arrived, moving away from reality altogether and reflecting the dizzying changes happening in science and technology through simple shapes, colors, and lines. American modernism emerged in 1928, bringing its own bold, uniquely new world voice to the conversation. And finally, we land in 2002 with contemporary art, where all of these threads come together. And the only rule is that there are no rules. Every generation asks new questions. Every generation imagined the world differently. And every generation left something behind. Art is one of humanity's greatest gifts. It preserves history, expresses emotions, challenges ideas, builds connection, helps people heal. It can comfort us, celebrate joy, and remind us that someone else has exactly felt the same way we're feeling. But like every human innovation we've explored, art also carries responsibility. The same imagination that painted cave walls can design propaganda. The same creativity that inspires hope can manipulate fear. And that same talent that creates beauty can also be driven by greed, exploitation, or power. Art itself isn't good or bad. It simply amplifies the heart of the person creating it. Art reminds us that humans don't just discover the world, we imagine new ones. From every painting, sculpture, photograph, to every cathedral and film, every invention we'll explore later in the series began first as an idea inside someone's mind, which means imagination may be humanity's greatest force and also our greatest responsibility. Because whatever we can imagine, we can eventually build. The question has never really been, can humans create? We've already answered that again and again throughout history. The better question is, what will we choose to create? And perhaps even more importantly, who will we become while creating it? And what is our motivation behind it?
And then they wonder, what does it mean to live and to leave?
When I go to museums, I find myself just kind of captivated by a painting that I'm like, this speaks to me in ways that I don't really have words to say, or that maybe the artist couldn't, and we're relating to one another on this canvas.
Yes.
It's cool.
That's it. Exactly. And I think that the power of art to carry common feelings, almost like it carries a piece or a spark of the human soul forward throughout history, whoever created it, the ability of art to do that has honestly been a threat to regimes who didn't want that. I think about like during World War II.
That's true.
And Hitler's regime trying to destroy any art that wasn't German propaganda art, essentially.
Right. Yeah. If it didn't benefit the Third Reich, I think it was something that was destroyed, unfortunately. So unfortunately. Or stolen.
Exactly.
And never found again. Like,
exactly.
I'm kind of bitter about the Amber Room, honestly.
Exactly.
Like, it would have been an amazing thing to see.
Yes.
That extends into kind of the dark side of art and painting, and that art can be used for good to like reach the soul when words can't anymore. And then art can be used for evil to reach the soul in a negative way. Like
Exactly.
Destroy
You
the
see
soul,
a
I
lot
guess.
of content being made in the name of creativity today
that
maybe bullies another person or capitalizes on someone who's been taken against their will or being used against their will in some way. We see these forms of quote unquote art that harm another person or behind the scenes harm another person.
Yeah.
So while art can be this beautiful, art is always an expression of the soul that's sharing it. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And if the soul is dark, then what they're doing is most likely going to also be unkind or hurtful or harmful. Because art is just the expression of our soul in the world.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point to kind of remember, we have to kind of go back to talking about what is our motivation behind this piece that I'm creating. Am I using it for good, for the betterment of humanity? Or is it or am I using it for good, for my good, for what I define as good for me and the harmfulness of humanity? And so I think everybody just needs to go to therapy.
Everyone just go to therapy. Therapists, comment below. We
Art
need you.
Therapy. Because I think that, painting something dark or expressing yourself in a dark manner necessarily is not bad. But when
No.
because sometimes that's just what's going on.
The whole range of human emotion is helpful and educational.
Yes, and good.
And when someone creates something that it says, I'm so sad, or I'm feeling like when someone uses those feelings and turns them into an expression of art, that can help someone else to know they're not alone.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about art that's used for powerful, especially powerful regimes, or to gain power over people in order to harm them, or with the side effect of harming them.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
Not to be helpful, but to be harmful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or in a creator's world, which we really live in terms of social media and the ability to share what you've created, whether that's a reel or a meme, or, I mean, that is all art. The meme that someone makes that makes fun of someone else is art. It's been created. It's an expression of their soul into the world now. And what does our art say about us?
They talk about like kids that are drawing very dark, artwork in their homework binder. That kind of shows the condition your soul's in.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the person that needs help.
Exactly. And it's okay to be sad. And it's okay to recognize you're sad. And it's important to then find help for that, because while we will all be sad, depressed in very, very dark times sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that people talk about like the dark night of the soul. It's a necessary part to human growth. Grief, sadness, pain, necessary to human growth, to the arc of a human soul.
All the emotions are good.
They all help us. And if you think about, like, this is the way I think about it. I'm not a specialist in this, but this is how I think of it.
Okay.
If you think about that, yes, our human body, it grows, and then it stops growing. I feel like about the time that our human body starts growing, our soul like starts on its growth journey in a new way, And so then we are going through challenges and things in life, and maybe the challenge is realizing that we're not as great as we thought we were, and we have to learn humility and how to support other people, not just always promote ourselves. And so that leads to like a crisis of identity. Or maybe it is that our identity was always, oh, I'm the good girl, or I'm the, star, whatever. And then all of a sudden we find ourselves like in this situation where all the good in the world couldn't keep us from the bad. And so now we're in this like dark night of the soul. But it's in those moments that we create. And it's in those moments that we'll often find ourselves creating art that actually heals us. It's like the creation of art during the dark night of the soul has the power to heal and is powerful. But we're not meant to stay there. It's a growth arc.
Yeah.
It's like having a broken leg. Your leg's not supposed to stay broken. And so I think if somebody's listening to this and they maybe went through something hard, created art from it, but now feel stuck there, or feel numb, or feel like they're not waking up again, there's help for that.
Yeah.
Because we are all supposed to create, and you can create from both the light and the dark.
Yeah.
And all the times. And that's what we're supposed to do.
And I think it is important to be able to do that, because it does speak to the human soul in such a way where I painted a very dark and sad, painting, and it speaks to me and it speaks to my soul. And then the next time that I come across that same painting, hey, I remember when I was there, and now I feel like this painting over here that's light and bright and good. And what that journey was in between those two paintings, what does that look like? For me, probably therapy and some meds. But, it's good and helpful for everybody to kind of figure out what that key to unlock and move forward is.
Yes.
To be able to continue to create good art. And art doesn't have to be painting. Art doesn't have to be drawing. Art, everybody here is artists.
Yes.
In the way we know it or not. Yeah. You said something about how like now AI.
Oh, yeah. So people, especially with the advent of AI, they were like, AI is the new creator.
Yeah.
Why do we bother creating? And I think for us as humans, and again, this is just my understanding of it, and this is definitely not the whole picture, but a component of it would be, I think, that we as creators, as humans, need to create to grow, to evolve. It's you find your voice by using your voice. You find your creativity by using your creativity. And a lot of times you find your way out of the dark by turning on the light with your own creativity. It's something we don't talk about maybe enough, that a lot of times we think in order to be a creative, I have to share and have validation from someone outside me for what I made, when maybe it's just you turning your own light on. I think also for creatives, and which is all of us, but in that process, you mentioned sometimes you'll have the picture of the art that you created, and then and it's dark, and then you look later and you find it and you're like, oh, look, the light's on. I think the beauty of creativity as a life path almost.
Yeah.
Identifying as a creative or as an artist in your life, and knowing that your own creativity is like a spiritual component of yourself.
Yeah. That
can lead you through life. I think with that, when you get to the light, if you can go back to the dark and right at the end, connect the dots. that's where your art becomes really powerful to you.
Yeah.
Like that's where you create almost like a body of work for yourself, whether it's poetry, whether it's memory videos you make, whether it's photo collabs or art you're painting or pottery or whatever it is. When we can connect our own story in what we're creating, we create the book of our own lives.
Yeah.
And the more we can do that, the more we can find our way out of the dark every time.
I love that. Now, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is your canvas?
My canvas.
What do you create?
Obviously I love creating stuff like this,
Yeah.
that's fun. But I write.
Okay.
I write poetry, I write songs, I write all the things.
I love that.
I write, like writing is like my spiritual practice. I spend about an hour every morning writing.
Okay.
And try to write 3 to 4 pages
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah. That's really neat. I think I
What
read
about
it.
you?
Well, hang on. I'll get
Okay,
there.
you're gonna say something.
I'll get there. I think I read somewhere that said that one of like the world's most famous authors or whatever would write like 30 minutes a day, very consistently. 30 minutes, I'm going to write. 30 minutes, I'm going to write. No matter what it is, just going to write. And I thought that was really, really good. You know, because you may not be good at it. It may not be good. It could be gibberish. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you could win awards for. It's just something that you yourself are creating.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, you know, for you, it's writing music and writing, and that maybe just be for yourself.
Exactly. Obviously, when we're young, we want to make something out of our creation.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we say like we want to make something out of the creation, usually we mean we want someone else to validate our creation as good. And that's a huge trap because first, our art has to be the journey of this is my story, my dark night, my whatever, or my high, my mountaintop. And I'm going to bring that and write my story for me as my healing. And then from there, you know, there are certainly artists who, you know, share their work and that's their life path. And
that's okay.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's wonderful. A lot of us, we will have that as our guide through our whole life, you know, and we're writing our soul story as we live it. And that is not less valid because someone else doesn't give you permission to do it or pay you to do it or say that it's good.
Yeah. Do you think that the mentality that I have, if I produce art, then somebody else has to validate it, maybe keeps people from creating?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think when we try to create and we have that like critic of I'm going to create, but at the same time, I'm going to have the critic on my shoulder of this needs to be something I can share. I need to make something out of this for other people. I think it blocks the creativity.
Ah.
And then if you can create knowing that the creation is the work itself and that even creating can be like your life's work. Like it can be the most special, unique, sacred thing that you ever do, but no one ever sees it.
Yeah.
That's okay. That doesn't make it less powerful,
right,
or helpful or transformational because you then go out into the world and you live the light you created in every interaction and in everything you do. You're shining that light that you created just because somebody doesn't know where that light came from, that you know, made it in your bedroom, you know, when you were crying earlier, what, you know, like just because you don't have a huge stage and a platform in a studio doesn't mean it's not valuable. You're sharing your art through the way you live then.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that you can do in a way, in a sense, that's a bit of like almost like passing on legacy, you know? So my form of art expression is writing and drawing.
I didn't know you draw.
Yeah, I do. And it's just one of those things where, because I think I mentioned to you before that I don't really think in words. I think very abstractly, and then I have to like convert it into words, and sometimes it's too exhausting for me. So then I'll just draw. And that's like a really great escape for me. And sometimes my drawings make no sense to anybody else, but that's okay. They're mine. Exactly. And they don't need to. But I think that the cool thing is that my kids are so impressed by it. Like, Mom, you're such a good drawer. And I'm like, thanks, guys. You know, like it's just to me, it wasn't anything that I tried to be good at. It was just something that I did because it was how I was able to express myself. And I think really that's what art is. How can you express yourself?
How do you express yourself? And do you feel like better after, like if you go into like you're drawing something and you're not feeling alert, focused, whatever, like do you feel better on the other side of drawing something?
Yeah, I do. Because I almost feel like I left it on the page a bit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm like, I feel like accomplished in a way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately haven't been able to do it as much as I'd like to.
You have your hands full.
I have my hands full too. But it's, you know, when I do have the opportunity to just like sit down with I would buy like, I wish I could, honestly, I told my kids, I was like, I wish I could like find my old sketch pads because my mom would buy me all sorts of sketch pads because I was just always drawing. And, you know, you do kind of get good at it.
Yeah.
As you
well, not me, but I believe it.
Not me. But you're good at music writing, other things. Yeah.
Other things. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But just art. No.
Yeah. You're like, but not art.
Not the drawing kind of art.
Well, that's okay. I'm not good at singing and you are. And so I think it's a compliment.
It's all, but yes, you're right. That over time it starts to whatever it is, you start to feel like you can do this more easily and express yourself through this form better, whether that's dance or poetry or drawing or painting or whatever it is. You start to feel like I can express myself through this.
Yeah.
And I think there's almost what you said about you left it on the page. I think that's really the powerful part of this form of almost like leading ourselves through things with art, because so many things in life we can't resolve.
Right.
We can't fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we want to take the step to do something, but we can't do that thing because it would hurt someone else or whatever it is. We can't actually resolve the tension we're facing or the pain we're facing.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is in this moment when it feels too heavy,
yeah,
we can leave it on a page to be picked up later.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel better afterwards.
Yeah, and you just kind of process through it.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, honestly, to have. So, whatever you guys are creating, go out there and do it.
Do it.
You're all artists.
You're all artists, and this is your permission, okay? This conversation is your permission.
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. We so appreciate you. Be sure to like, subscribe. And subscribe. And share it with a friend.
Yeah.
We love it. If this spoke to you and you think it would speak to someone else, please share it. Pass it along. We'll see you guys in the next episode.